Ladies and gents, welcome to yet another episode of Bilingual Lingo. Today, I am thrilled to sit down with one of my biggest mentors, an extraordinary individual whose life's journey has been an exploration of entrepreneurship, innovation, and the boundless possibilities of the human spirit. He is a polyglot linguist, YouTuber, influencer, author, educator, and a multicultural language expert. Last summer, Ruben came to Vermont to teach a weekend-long class at a renowned college, and I had the privilege to interview him here in my New Hampshire studio. Join me in extending a warm welcome to the brilliant mind and visionary thinker, Ruben Adery. Okay. There you go. Look at that.
Vamos.
Cheers to you, my friend.
Cheers to you.
God bless you and your family.
And yes, thank you.
And welcome to Bilingual Lingo, episode number 2 with my friend Ruben. And he's one of my biggest mentors.
And also one of my best friends.
And
So in Bilingual Lingo,
we talked the first half of the show in Argentine Spanish, and then the second half in American English. So, welcome to the show, Ruben. I'm gonna switch to Argentine Spanish. ¿Cómo te va, querido?
Vamos.
¿Cómo te fue hoy?
Excelente.
Excelente. ¿En qué contamos?
Acá andamos, sí, primera vez en New Hampshire.
En New Hampshire.
Y estamos recorriendo casi todo el barrio de New London.
Los barrios porteños de New London.
Sí, claro. No, pero ha sido un placer
Sí.
conocer a la familia.
La familia.
Que sí, no, siempre me encanta, buscar, explorar el país y cómo está en esa zona del país. Es mejor conocerte en persona, ¿no?
Sí, sí.
Primera vez en 4 años casi que no.
Ya casi 4 años
nos vemos,
conocemos y bueno, siempre por la clase y nunca en persona, nunca nos hemos tocado, así que hoy nos hemos tocado por primera vez. Ha sido un placer.
Un gran abrazo.
4th of July,
Increíble.
gran abrazo. Fourth of July, qué honor tenerte en el 4th of July.
¿No?
Y bueno, no, estoy muy feliz de tenerte acá conmigo en esta casa, que también es tu casa, así que...
Gracias.
No, estoy muy contento de tenerte y tengo como 104 millones de preguntas para hacerte, muchas de las que ya hablamos.
Y bueno.
Pero, ¿por qué no empezamos con la parte aburrida contar?
¿Alguna parte aburrida de nuestra vida, de nuestro cuento?
No, pero la intro que hacemos, bueno, ¿quién es Ruben? ¿Cuál es la
para que la
profesión?
gente sepa, ¿no?
Para el que dentro de esta gran audiencia que tenemos de millones de personas, hay algunos que no saben quién sos, entonces, bueno, queremos introducirte.
Claro.
Contanos qué es de tu vida, a qué te dedicas.
Claro, lo
Porque
fundamental.
hablas, disculpame, pero hablas como un argentino, nacido en
parece?
Argentina.
Sí,
Entonces,
sí.
aclarale a la gente que no es el caso, porque la gente va a decir, pero porteño. Pero vos sos
parece-
porteño, no sos.
No tanto.
No
Sí,
tanto.
soy puro yankee,
Ajá.
como dicen en Argentina. Nací en Michigan.
Porteño de Michigan.
Porteño de Michigan, sí, un porteño más. Pero sí, no, la verdad es que soy de Detroit, Michigan. Y como crecí en una familia monolingüe, ¿no? Sin esa experiencia o conexión con español. Aunque mi mamá era profesor de español.
Ujú.
Y a veces, cuando tenés el español en tu vida, ¿no? Se te pega a veces unas palabras, pero el acento que tengo ahora viene de Argentina. Entonces, después de años en Michigan, de verdad que no conocía a ningún hispanohablante, nunca usaba el español como una conversación así. Y después, soy licenciado en español al final. Aprendí mucho de la gramática, el vocabulario, etc. Y Después de un año me mudé a Buenos Aires porque, no sé, de hecho fue muy random, por casualidad eh, que llegué a Buenos Aires. Hice couchsurfing por primera vez
Ah,
y, y después escuché ese acento de allá.
ujú.
Y me dijeron, che, Rubén, pasame la botella. Y yo imité exactamente como lo escuché. Pasame la botella, ¿no? Y era así como la gente me miraba. ¿Y pero cómo?
¿Cómo
¿Qué?
pensaste?
Y si era, no, es que dije los que dijiste vos. Y me miraban así, pero no se puede hacer así como imitar a una persona sin saber algo de la cultura, de la comunidad, del idioma. Entonces, tenía experiencia, estoy saltando parte de la historia en donde enseñé inglés, viajé por casi todo el mundo con esa intención de aprender un idioma, compartir el mío y ver cómo es esa diferencia entre el acento nativo y el acento que conocemos en Estados Unidos, el acento americano en
Ujú,
español, por
ujú,
ejemplo. Y a la vez estudié la lingüística con un enfoque en la fonética, la fonología, y ahora que en ese momento conocía un montón de términos y para aprender qué aprendían en las clases de español. Aprendí italiano, portugués, después hebreo, y todo con ese objetivo de sonar o de sentirme un poco más nativo, como
claro.
brasilero, como israelí, como cualquier persona.
Ujú, ujú.
Pero sí, es una combinación del interés en los idiomas, un talento, digamos, para las voces y cómo imitar a tipo actores y personajes que vemos en las películas.
Ujú.
Robin Williams y Adam Sandler, todos los ídolos de los años 90,
Sí, sí.
eh, hacían parte de la vida, ¿no?
Ujú. ¿Y cómo o sea, que te decidiste por aprender la versión argentina del español por una cuestión de casualidad, que se
Mm.
hizo tuviste la oportunidad de hacer esa imitación cuando hacías el couchsurfing y eso fue lo que vamos a decir, te inició porque podrías haber hecho otro acento o elegiste por alguna otra razón, terminaste eligiendo, me quiero especializar más, si bien me imagino que te interesa todas las versiones de español, pero ¿hay alguna razón extra o
Mm.
particular donde digas, oh, no, me interesó esto por esta razón o no, realmente no fue más como una casualidad que entraste en lo que es el acento argentino?
Sí, puede ser que haya una combinación de los estudios, que sí, me enseñaron un montón de cosas de varias culturas, pero además, cuando estás en un país y la primera vez cuando estás viajando y eh, escuchas un acento interesante que a lo mejor que te conecta con otras personas y la comida
Mm,
toda la experiencia, yo creo que a la vez estaba pensando, "Oh, bueno, me gusta ese acento, no es que lo conocía antes y
ujú,
tenía una prejuicio o ningún prejuicio que no lo conocía. Entonces es como que cuando empezás a estudiar algo y te das cuenta de que hay algo interesante, algo que me llama la atención, que puedo hacer,
claro.
probablemente tenía que ver con el hecho de que tenía esa capacidad y la
Ah,
gente me dijo, che Rubén, es impresionante.
entonces,
Y yo me decía así como, no puede ser tan bien, no puede ser así
claro, claro.
nativo, pero voy trabajando, perfeccionando
Sí,
todo.
sí, sí. Sí, lo que pasa es que también uno a veces, yo creo que un poco uno nace con ciertas misiones en esta vida y bueno, por eso uno siente a veces cierta atracción por una pareja o por un amigo, se lleva mejor con un amigo y a veces pasa con los lugares y con las culturas también, donde uno medio como que siente una conexión que no la puede explicar y que quizás viene ya de antes de nacer, donde uno, bueno, está como vamos a decir, como en el camino de tu vida de presentarse. Y bueno, quizás es un poco lo que te pasó con Argentina, ¿no? Con el acento argentino. Porque la verdad que cuando hablas, y no soy el único que te lo digo, obviamente, pero todo el mundo te dice que hablas como un nativo, es impresionante y bueno, es parte de la inspiración que yo sentí cuando empecé a hacer la clase con ustedes porque son una prueba de que es posible, vamos a decir, hablar como una persona nativa. Mucha gente en la vida uno se encuentra y te dice, no, nunca vas a hablar como un nativo, nunca vas a hablar como un... No, nunca lo vas a hablar porque no creciste en Estados Unidos. Y bueno, ustedes son prueba de que hay gente que lo puede hacer. Entonces es lo que a mí me mantiene con la esperanza de que algún día pueda hablar inglés estadounidense sin acento, ¿no? Pero bueno, es un gol. Y contame, vos, el tema de aprender italiano es algo que te llega después de aprender el español de Argentina o no tiene alguna una relación más allá de las similitudes de los dos idiomas. ah, ¿Hubo algún tipo de conexión o no? ¿Pasó porque te interesaste en italiano o te interesaste porque te diste cuenta que había similitudes con la versión argentina del español, ¿no?
Claro, hay una claro que esa influencia que tiene el italiano sobre esa cultura argentina es obvia, no es evidente. Pero no, estudié italiano primero.
Primero.
Sí,
Ok.
antes en la universidad. Y como es como estás estudiando español y que estás como coleccionando todos los idiomas en la misma familia, porque la gramática es muy parecida y tenés vocabulario eh, ya aprendido, cosas que son bastante, sí, casi iguales, ¿no?
Claro.
La gente, con la pronunciación que cambia un poco.
Sí.
Pero es impresionante que, te decía antes que había una profesora de Italia
Claro.
que era muy, muy buena, ¿no? Que me enseñaba, sabía mucho del proceso de adquirir o de perfeccionar un idioma, pero era así principiante y no sabía del proceso de aprender. Y como en vez de aprender la gramática y seguir los pasos y capítulo uno hasta el final del libro, era algo como más allá de una clase típica.
Mm.
Y después cuando llegué a Buenos Aires y con ese conocimiento de italiano, a la vez me ayuda un montón.
Claro.
Porque sí se puede conectar esas intonaciones.
Claro. Y no tiene no tuvo nada que ver que vos sabías que tenías un cierto porcentaje de genes italianos o eso no tiene nada que ver.
No,
Eso lo
no
supiste
sabía.
después.
Sí, sí, 2000, o sea, estamos hablando de 2003,
Bueno.
¿no? Entonces, sí, cuestión de pura casualidad todo eso, lo de, de las cosas genéticas, nada que ver.
Claro. Y contame, más allá que hablamos de estos temas con anterioridad, pero ¿cómo fue que tuviste la oportunidad de conectarte con Dustin?
Ah, con Dustin Luke.
Dustin
¿Lo
Luke.
conoces?
Lo conozco a Dustin Luke, es mi tío.
Y sí, es un capo Dustin Luke.
Claro.
Sí, Dustin es un gran amigo, es youtuber y creo que se hizo famoso, digamos, en un año antes de que nos conocimos en Buenos Aires. Y yo enseñaba inglés en un colegio privado en Olivos, en zona norte. Y no sé, me enteré del casting que hizo Dustin.
Ujú.
Eh,
O sea, que este casting es un casting específico que él hizo o hubo otra empresa que hizo el casting y Dustin formó parte de ese casting o no, Dustin fue el que publicó el casting, vamos a decir.
claro, fue él que
Ok.
lo hizo también, él con Mike
Con
the Asian,
Mike the
que
Asian,
tiene su canal.
the Asian,
que hace Mike.
capo,
Eh,
genio total.
y los conocí en una oficina o algo de WeWork, algo así, ¿no? Alquilaron un espacio. Y
Truchona ahí.
Truchón.
Truchón.
Y bueno, llegué y bueno, dije, y con mi pelo así, era en ese momento muy argento, ¿no? Con el
Claro.
pelo, con la facha, todo eso, y el castellano de Buenos Aires.
Sí, pero con la barba y el pelo muy de los 70, un look argento de los 70, una onda así, una Bitles, ¿no? De
Una
los Bitles,
Bitles, sí.
Bitles de los 70 argento.
Y luego me dijeron, che, no es para yankee, perdón, que tiene que ser yankee,
Claro,
que
claro.
hable castellano. Y yo dije, no, soy de Michigan, estoy en inglés, ¿no?
Avenida
¿Para qué?
Michigan al 200, ¿no?
Y era, sí, ¿no? Difícil
De creer,
de creer.
claro.
Entonces, no, era muy fácil, ¿no? Me cae re bien el chabón. Y después nos, eh, nos encontramos por Buenos Aires por un par de semanas y nada, después me fui de Buenos Aires. Mantuvimos el contacto más o menos, pero no fue hasta tipo 8, casi 7, 8, 9 años después del primer encuentro, cuando decidimos hacer algo juntos, ¿no? Que para ayudar a la comunidad, al público que siempre está buscando más, ¿no? Más contenido de Dustin, pero también en ese caso para aprender inglés.
Ujú.
Y que él habla inglés y yo también tengo un proceso, una estructura, unos cursos del acento. eh, y como dijiste vos, ¿no? Dustin puede hacerlo y yo también estamos mostrando cómo se puede cambiar el acento y la voz y por qué no pueden hacer lo mismo.
Claro, claro. Y ahí en algún momento, después de conocerse, se vuelven a encontrar y medio como que ahí empieza una dinámica donde Dustin medio como te hace una propuesta que vos se lo habías mencionado con anterioridad y medio como quedó ahí en el tintero y él te dice, no, estaría bueno que hagamos esto juntos. Y ahí ustedes empiezan la clase que se llama Speak Like a Native, ¿no?
Mm.
O hablar como, en la parte española sería hablar como un nativo, sería... O es
¿Lo
un...
de YouTube o de...?
No, bueno, porque claro, empieza primero en YouTube y después se hace website con todo lo demás,
Claro.
con toda la base de datos y todo eso, ¿no? Empieza en
Claro,
YouTube.
que había ese interés de aprender o de enseñar inglés. Yo ya armaba clase del acento y decidimos, sí, armar algo juntos, ¿no? Y Dustin tenía ese canal de YouTube para poder publicar, hacer unos lives en vivo, clases en vivo, pero sin unas clases, sin el plan, ¿no? Y qué vamos a enseñar.
Claro,
Y
claro.
entonces me preguntó a mí y dije, bueno, vamos a hablar de todo lo que hago siempre, vocales, consonantes, el ritmo, ¿no?
Sí.
La prosodia. Entonces tenía todo preparado ya y él me ayudó a alcanzar, ¿no? Ese público que realmente necesita aprender.
Claro, claro, claro. Y desde aquellos tiempos de YouTube, hoy por hoy, casi 4 años después, ¿les queda algún estudiante de esa época o se fueron todos? ¿Les queda
Increíblemente no van a creer que tenemos 3
tres?
alumnos de
Ajá.
los días
La vida ahí.
de YouTube
Ajá.
y vos sos uno de los 3,
Uno de los
the
tres.
OG.
Uno de los OG.
Impresionante que sí, la gente que nos sigue hasta desde ese momento, esa época en
Bueno,
donde estábamos creciendo, pero sin escuchar al público, sin ver a nadie.
bueno,
Es un poco complicado. Cuando tenés una clase, una lección ya armada, está bien. Pero si estás hablando, buscando algo, diálogo,
claro.
tenés que o tenerlo con tu dúo, con Dustin y yo, o generar energía, ¿no? Con algo, otro vino, otra cosita.
Otra bebida.
Y sí,
Y OG significa hombre gordo, como
exactamente.
yo. Como
Oye,
yo.
oye, que es tal cual.
Tal
Estás
cual.
aprendiendo mucho en inglés.
Sí, sí, no,
Ombre
yo
Gordo.
soy un erudito. Así que, no, sí, yo recuerdo esos tiempos y bueno, después fue obviamente mutando, creciendo la clase, cambiando de plataformas y hoy por hoy el formato es a través de Zoom y las páginas para que si la gente se quiere sumar a la clase es speaklikeanative.com.
Bueno, tenemos English Speaking Hacks
Okay, English
y
speaking.
Spanish Speaking Hacks,
Okay.
que son hacks, que son tips o trucos o cualquier cosa que te va a ayudar en inglés y en español, y cómo ayudamos a la gente que esté estudiando castellano, que son yanquis, gringos de Estados Unidos,
Sí.
y a la vez en la academia tenemos latinos que quieren aprender, perfeccionar su inglés, y una vez a la semana se encuentran.
Claro.
Entonces, para hacer un intercambio es muy copado, muy descontracturado,
Sí.
pero con ese propósito, el objetivo de mantener o de compartir el feedback y sí, para hacer cosas que no se puede hacer por YouTube.
Claro.
Pero o sea, me intriga saber qué te acordás de esos días en YouTube.
De YouTube. No, en realidad yo me acuerdo que hubo un momento antes de que nazca mi... Bueno, las cosas para mí cambiaron con el tiempo porque en los últimos 9 meses más o menos, el último año me empecé a enfocar mucho más en la parte de pronunciación de la clase. Pero antes de eso recuerdo que había un punto donde solo yo me había perdido 2 clases desde el principio. Y hice 6 clases desde el auto, manejando. Y además había hecho 87 videos de feedback para que ahí quedamos ahí cerca de los 100. Pero bueno, tengo el honor y el placer de decir que fui el que más videos hizo. Y
Increíble.
los videos de feedback estaban buenísimos porque, bueno, a mí me ayudaron un montón, no solo en cuanto a aprender y mejorar mi inglés, pero también esa experiencia frente de la cámara. Y bueno, eso también me ayuda a forzarme todas las semanas a hacer un video.
Claro, para que sepan, ¿no? Es que como la idea es como a lo que te referís, ¿no?
Sí, sí.
El feedback, la tarea de la semana era como unas oraciones o frases que grabar
Claro.
por Facebook o
Claro.
Entonces después te damos un feedback
Claro.
acerca de la conexión entre palabras y la D latina, la T, etcétera.
Claro. Porque los videos los posteábamos en el grupo de Facebook y ahí es donde ustedes los veían y nos dejaban feedback también. No eran feedback en vivos, pero eran feedback personalizados, vamos a decir. Y bueno, era fantástico porque en realidad es lo que cada persona necesita porque todos tenemos baches distintos de información. Y bueno, eso era buenísimo. Después, bueno, el formato cambió y la clase se pasó a ser más a los jueves. Eso como que se transformó más a los jueves con las charlitas.
Ujú.
Donde las charlitas uno en realidad el feedback lo obtiene más con una persona nativa que con ustedes. Pero bueno, ustedes también dan feedback en las charlitas en vivo. Y no, yo tengo esos recuerdos de aquellas épocas. Y bueno, ha sido la verdad que muy beneficioso para mí porque yo vivo en el estado de New Hampshire, en Estados Unidos, hace casi 20 años. Y yo aprendí más inglés en los últimos 4 años que de la clase que en los otros 16 años, porque mi mujer nació acá y se creó en Estados Unidos, pero ella no es lingüista y la manera que yo hablo siempre fue natural para ella. Entonces es como que uno teniendo tantos problemas en su acento, es como que no, prácticamente mi mujer no me puede decir todo el día, la D, la S,
Claro.
la R, la American R.
Cansa.
Entonces, por eso ya te digo que para mí fue la mejor clase que hice en mi vida porque es la más larga y la que más beneficio les obtuve, vamos a decir, ¿no? Así que, bueno, yo creo que, ya te digo, muy feliz de continuar con la clase hoy por hoy. Y bueno, después surgió en algún momento la idea de hacer las charlongas, porque las charlitas es 1 hora
donde los jueves nos juntamos una hora y hacemos una charla de 5 o 10 minutos con una persona nativa del otro idioma. Y las charlonas es una vez por mes o una vez cada 2 meses.
Por mes, sí.
Una vez
Fue
por
un
mes.
domingo.
Domingo.
Por la tarde, sí.
Y son 2 horas y bueno, no tiene más tiempo y además está bueno porque, bueno, es un domingo, uno no tiene que manejar o generalmente mucha gente no está en el trabajo.
Claro.
Entonces surge más la oportunidad de tomarse algo y bueno,
Una
la verdad que
vuelta.
uno siempre se queda con ganas de más, ¿no? La gente te lo dice, yo te lo digo también todo el tiempo, que uno, viste, quiere le gustaría hablar 3 horas porque, vamos a decir, es un grupo de gente que comparte la misma pasión por aprender el idioma de manera nativa que más le gusta a uno. O sea, en mi caso es el inglés estadounidense, pero en mi caso mucha gente es el español argentino, vamos a decir, ¿no? Entonces se genera un clima de alegría constante, ¿no? Porque uno tiene, viste, cuando hablas con pasión sobre gente que tiene el mismo club de fútbol, vamos a decir,
Claro.
la pasión te sale de adentro, vamos a decir, ¿no? Así que bueno, eso es lo que es la clase.
Sí.
Y bueno, en un otra cosa es, si querés contar un poquito vos la historia, si no la puedo contar yo, pero en realidad es un poquito más acerca de vos, pero si querés contar un poquito la historia, yo te voy ayudando si algo falta. ¿Cómo llega la conexión entre el colo y el tolo para colotol?
El colotolo.
Colotol. ¿Qué pasó? ¿De dónde salió el colo? ¿Cómo es que ustedes conectan? Contala si querés.
Claro, es buena pregunta que no sabemos siempre de dónde viene esas personas que nos encuentran. Pero sí, el Colo, Will, que ahora es un gran amigo, eh, o sea, buscaba algo como vos en castellano, que vivía en Argentina, en Mendoza, tenía un acento, una base increíble antes, pero, o sea, a veces te falta un poco de estructura o de feedback para saber que sí, hablas re bien. Entonces, hablamos, o sea, empezamos un curso de coaching privado, ¿no? con el capo Will, y después como tratamos de crear grupos de personas o con las charlitas nos damos cuenta de que la gente se hace amigos
Claro.
con tiempo. Claro que es muy buena gente, que tiene mucho en común, quieren aprender y hablar y perfeccionar su idioma, su acento. Entonces decidimos machear personas en el grupo. Decimos, che, a lo mejor vos y Will,
Claro.
o sea, sería un buen dúo, ¿no? Un buen match.
Sí.
¿Les parece? ¿No? Bien, ¿no? Y pasamos el contacto del otro y después esperamos.
Claro.
¿No? Plantamos unas semillas y dijimos, vamos a ver, espero que funcione.
Claro.
Y decime vos, ¿cómo era después de las primeras semanas? ¿Cómo
Sí,
era?
no, en realidad nosotros nunca supe si hubo un nombre oficial de la tramulla, no se dice tramulla o la tramullosca, o no sé cómo se dice, eh, pero me queda como memoria, por lo menos, que era encontrar un language partner, ¿no? Y entonces, bueno, nos hicieron el match. Yo recuerdo cuando hablé con Dustin sobre el tema, decía, no, porque Ruben y I hablamos de quién hacer el match. Y enseguida como que los dos pensaron en Will y yo, como que les surgió enseguida, vamos a decir, Ben y Will. Y bueno, no, yo recuerdo que tuvimos una primera reunión con Will y es como si nos hubiésemos conocido de toda la vida, tuvimos la muy buena onda y bueno, después es como que como que no podíamos esperar a hablar de vuelta, vamos a decir, ¿no? Y bueno, hicimos el formato es hablar la primera parte o la primera media hora, los primeros 45 minutos en español argentino, en la segunda en inglés americano. Y no, tuvimos una muy buena onda y entonces lo hicimos otra vez. Entonces a mí me surgió la idea, ¿por qué? O sea, si nosotros estamos haciendo a través de Zoom estas llamadas y las grabamos, hay valor para otra gente que quiera aprender o español argentino o español americano. Y lo podemos hacer en formato de podcast porque hay gente que le gusta lo que se llama el long format, ¿right?
Exactamente, sí.
Y otra gente que no, pero para la gente que le gusta puede aprender simplemente escuchando el podcast, puede mejorar o aprender cosas nuevas acerca del otro tema. Y bueno, probamos y salió igual de bien la química, la buena onda. Entonces lo seguimos haciendo hasta el punto de que, bueno, hoy grabamos 32 episodios
Mira,
que tenemos en realidad 12 en el queue que tienen que ser editados, pero no, seguimos y vamos a seguir, no tenemos planes de parar y bueno, ahora Will creo que el año que viene va a Argentina, así
va.
que quizás ahí hagamos un break hasta que él vuelva o quizás sea algo un poquito más difícil. Pero bueno, la idea es continuar y algún día, como te comentaba hoy, la idea sería de todos esos episodios dárselos a un editor para que saque clips, ¿no? Saque
Ujú.
clips, bueno, acá hablamos de Americana, acá hablamos de la D, acá hablamos de la palabra pelotudo, la palabra pedo, entonces
Excelente, ¿no?
poner clips pequeños y bueno, después quizás también a mí me gustaría hacer que todavía no lo toqué, no lo hablé conmigo, pero estaría bueno en algún momento hacer algo como hacía Dustin, o como hacías vos también, de ponerse una peluca y de hablar, viste, uno como diría una persona yankee, como diría una persona porteño, vamos a decir, ¿no? Y hacer una cosa cámara y cámara, aunque sea a la distancia, porque eso es algo que con un script podés hacer cada uno en su casa y después lo
Claro.
editas y probar, porque a ver cómo sale y bueno, tratar de introducir más entertaining o más, más cosas graciosas, mezclar un poquito más con la educación para que sea que la educación, para que la educación sea un poquito más digerible, vamos a
Ujú.
decir, ¿no? Así que
Me
bueno,
encanta.
así es como empezamos con el Colorado.
Es exactamente, sí, van a tener muchos ejemplos de cómo pueden mostrar las diferencias o enseñar cosas que solo, o no solo nosotros pensamos, pero son cosas que pueden motivar a muchas personas a la vez.
Claro, sí, 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 porque la idea es construir puentes y ayudar a la gente con algo que a uno le gusta hacer y que en realidad, yo le enseño mucho a Will y Will me enseña mucho a mí. El que escucha ese episodio puede aprender esas cosas y en realidad lo hacemos por pasión y no por dinero, porque en realidad el dinero no ganamos. Sí, si algún día sale algo seguro, pero en realidad uno lo hace de placer, vamos a decir, de corazón, ¿no?
Claro, aún
De
mejor.
poder ayudar un poquito desde nuestro costado, ¿no? Así que,
Tal cual, ¿no?
así que sí, sí,
Seguí,
sí,
que sigan.
vamos a seguir con el eh, Colo. Y bueno, nos conocimos en persona hace como un año y medio, nos encontramos en Burlington, en Vermont.
Ujú.
Y bueno, ahí hicimos una pequeña intro para el canal juntos. Así que bueno, al final de este verano, ya estuvimos hablando que quizás va a ver si puede venir a verme acá y bueno, podemos hacer algo de contenido acá, así que bueno, sería
Sería
buenísimo.
genial.
Pero no,
Bárbaro.
sí, aparte es un muchacho, muy buen muchacho, ¿viste? Buena persona, inteligente, de buen corazón,
Ujú.
honesto, ¿viste? Y bueno, es un gran amigo y bueno, te lo debo a vos y a Dustin, porque sin ustedes no lo hubiese conocido, así que muchísimas gracias y bueno, que-
Te rebanco, sí, los rebanco.
así que Así que bueno, contame un poquito qué te pareció por lo que viste en New Hampshire hoy, qué te pareció, viste
Es
un poquito.
un paraíso, tranquilo, pero,
Tranquilo,
o
tranquilo.
sea, muy, muy lindo todo. Eh, ya hablamos un poco más, un poco de la falta de diversidad,
Y la
pero
falta de diversidad, claro, sí,
es
sí. Sí.
lo que, bueno, uno espera.
Claro, en New Hampshire, en esta zona, sí,
Estamos
sí.
fuera de las ciudades principales de la región,
Claro.
pero con lagos y con agua. Esta temporada, o sea, durante el verano,
Sí, oh, es hermoso.
poco caloroso, ¿no?
Un
Hace,
poquito, claro, claro, sí, sí,
y
sí.
la humedad
Hoy que hizo
también.
80 y algo de grados, ¿no?
Sí,
84,
que
una cosa
son,
así.
no,
Sí,
para que la gente que no sepa,
sí.
28
28, claro,
por ahí.
29 por ahí, sí, sí, sí. Estaba lindo, está un poquito húmedo, ¿no? Pero
Sí, pero lindo. Después de la lluvia, antes y después.
sí, sí, fuimos ahí, bueno, fuimos a comer al The Flying Goose y tuvimos un almuerzo muy lindo y después fuimos para Pleasant Lake
Ujú.
y bueno, fuimos a caminar un poco, viste los lagos y después nos metimos en la casa de mi amigo Tony, sin permiso, pero nos metimos
Siempre.
porque es mi amigo y le quería mostrar la parrilla porque Tony se hizo una parrilla argentina, así que él hizo
Es
con todas las...
increíble, sí.
Sí, sí, todas. Nos olvidamos sacarle la foto, pero... Pero tiene una parrilla, bueno, estábamos ahí con el Ruben y de repente una voz, sale una voz de ahí de un parlante y...
Disculpen, amigos.
Sí, discúlpenme, ¿necesitan algo,
Oh, está todo
muchachos?
bien.
No, no, yo soy amigo del Tony. Estábamos acá mirando la parrilla, bueno, no sé,
No sé.
aparentemente era una especie de sistema de seguridad que quizás tiene un sensor que llama automáticamente un número y un
Claro,
tipo que atiende en todo el país.
presencia.
Claro, claro.
Sí, es lo que me sentía de la zona, ¿no?
Sí, sí.
Seguridad, ¿no?
Seguridad, seguridad.
Seguro en New Hampshire, entonces.
Sí.
Y quiero volver, ya.
¿Quieres ya que te bueno,
Ya te
cuando
extraño.
quieras, sí, cuando quieras, mi amigo, mi casa es tu casa, como siempre te digo, así que vení cuando quieras y bueno, vamos a tener otros días muy lindos también,
Sí,
así
sí,
que
claro.
cuando quieras y bueno, después te llevé a la casa de el señor Steven Tyler.
Steven Tyler.
Steven,
Esta.
Víctor Talarico.
Vito Talarisco.
Víctor Talarico. Y no está en Las Vegas haciendo su residencia,
Y
así
sí,
que bueno, no lo pudimos ver, pero
una casa
pasamos
muy
ahí.
linda, ¿eh?
Quedamos en las fotos del sistema de seguridad y bueno, pasamos ahí. Yo en realidad nunca me había animado a llegar tan cerca de la casa, pero bueno,
Vamos, primera vez.
hoy me dice el Lobo y seguimos ahí y Rubén me dio el coraje
Un
de
poco más de
fuimos,
sí,
estábamos ahí,
confianza.
miramos y estaba todo, no había nadie, así que bueno. Pero por lo menos viste la casa donde vive. Y también pasamos por el Anchorage, que es el restaurante donde se conocieron a Joe Perry y Steven
Anchorage.
Tyler. ¿Cómo decís? ¿Cómo dice? Anchorage.
En inglés,
En inglés.
Anchorage.
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 Anchorage. Ok.
La última mejor.
Anchorage.
Anchorage.
¿Sabes?
Buenísimo.
¿Mejor? Ok.
Perfecto. No
Gracias.
mejor, perfecto. A veces llegas al momento donde decís,
El estudiante supera al
this is
maestro.
this. You have to be like this. Anchorage.
Anchorage. Está bien,
Ah,
está
bueno,
bien.
sí, sí. Anchorage no, que no entramos, ¿no? Pero un lugar
Un lugar
bastante
ahí.
lindo, ¿eh?
Muy lindo, muy lindo. Así que no, hay muchos lugares acá. Los lagos, ¿te gustaron los lagos? Son hermosos.
Increíble, sí.
Pececitos que vimos ahí.
Agua así, muy clara, muy. O sea, y no tan fría. O sea, me parece muy. O sea, una buena oportunidad de bañarse.
Sí, 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 no, es un lugar muy lindo. Y bueno, ¿y cómo seguimos? ¿Querés que cambiemos
Dale,
¿Estás listo para cambiar?
al italiano.
¿Al italiano? Vamos al
Dale.
italiano que no tenemos
Allora,
no,
cominciamo la lezione in
vamos
italiano.
a escuchar en
Bene.
italiano.
Ma che dici?
Ma che dici? Come faccia?
It's just Argentinian
E
with
chi sta
sounds.
facendo? Chi sta facendo?
Capi.
Capito.
Madonna.
Capito. Capito, right?
Capito?
Capito.
Ho capito.
Ho capito. Capito.
Allora, it's a beautiful language.
It is a beautiful language. You are
can also do-
13% Italian. I'm 38 and high, 38.7 Italian. So we are distant cousins. I'm also Ashkenazi Jewish.
Ashkenazi Jew.
Ashkenazi Jew.
It's true. We
I
are.
have some blood and some that. So we are cousins.
It's true. We are. We figured it out.
We figured-
Cugini.
Cucini.
Yes.
Cucini.
Cugini. From the Ashkenazi Jewish part of Europe.
Right. Los italianos Ashkenazi Jews.
Yes.
Como nosotros acá.
Well, I know there maybe were a few of them that left by force.
Yeah, I think we look alike a little.
Yeah, I can see it.
I see the eyes, it's the beard.
The hair.
Yeah.
There are some things.
Yes. Yeah, with distant cousins. 23 and me tells you, oh, your seventh cousin is trying to
Contact you. You're like, stop it, cousin. Stop it.
Sure. If she's good looking, sure.
Hey, New Hampshire.
Right.
So I guess this is the fun part. I can ask you questions too, because you're in English.
Yes.
Well, as you might already know, Ben, folks watching, Ben, you have just an incredible level of English. I know that this is not the time to talk all about yourself, but it's your podcast. You get to your videos. You get to chat a little bit, and you have a professional here to tell the world how, professionally speaking, natural and native like you've already reached before we met. There's just this this need, this like ganas, or this drive, because you get to live here. Because you live here, you've chosen to live here, and you get to have a life in English, and you're really living and not speaking a native language most of the time. And I know that there are these things that stand out, but for just the first question, I'm curious, how, in your opinion, have you gotten to this point where you just really can't tell exactly where you're from immediately, and the base is not just a base anymore? It's like this is your identity.
Right. Like, you mean for other people, or for myself, or you mean for when somebody else meets me for the first time?
We know the Argentinian accent in English is not so what you're saying.
Right.
It's like nada que ver. So you have this like separation where you've acquired something where either you can do the burger sound, or some big and e versus but what was it that at least puts you in a place that's not just this like typical RG accent? What is it for you?
Yeah, to me it's like I married a native born American, and I been living in New Hampshire and in Vermont and in both states. I mean, they're not very diverse states, so most people are white people that speak English. And I lived most of my adult life in the United States. So I think a combination of those factors, or those things, that make me, and in our class, I mean, a combination is like a team effort, in the sense of like all those elements combined and together, that I left Buenos Aires when I was 25, and I'm 44. So, but the thing is, like, you really start living your adult life. Technically at 18, but around 15 is when we started doing things more like adults. So, essentially, I only had 10 years in Argentina as an adult, and even less if you are talking about 18 and up. So that's 7 years, compared to almost 20 in the United States. So that's why I am, I guess, to an extent, I am an American, not only because I'm a U.S. citizen.
Look at your shirt.
Sure, yes, yeah. Happy 4th, everybody. But yes, so but I mean, it's just not because I love the United States and this is my country and this is and I'm a proud U.S. citizen and all that stuff. But I mean, in practice, it's really, I lived most of my adult life in the United States. So I think that's why, it also puts you in a kind of in a very rare position, because, like you said, it's like most people who speak English as a second language they live most of their lives on the country that they originally came from, which is not my case. if we talk about when I was born until now, sure, I lived most of my life in Argentina, but again, when I turn 50, it's gonna be 51% in the United States. So, and I don't know if I answered the question.
Yeah, you definitely.
Fui por las ramas un poco.
No, está bien. De hecho, it's natural that you would acquire English when you're living here, but not everybody does.
Right.
You know people who've been in countries for 20 plus years who still speak Spanish in English.
Right. Yeah. And some people, they refuse to learn the language literally. So people, they just do not want to learn the language. So I know, for example, there's a soccer player, a very famous soccer player. His name is Valderrama from Colombia. He lived for 25 years in Miami, and he doesn't have the need to speak English, but he also doesn't want to. He said that, no, I just don't want to learn English or perfect my English. So again, it's also what do you want and your desire to succeed on something,
Yeah.
And your voice is an instrument, and your brain manages that instrument. And to me, it's a dream to speak like a native, like with no mistakes. And up until now, I do have some mistakes, and I mess up my D's sometimes and my vowels sometimes. But I try to. I truly try my best. I think that the next thing will be for me to take extra hours during the week and actually isolate it. But I think that over time, with another 10 years or 20 years, I will eventually speak like a native. I think it's possible. I believe it's possible,
Definitely possible.
So speak like a native or die trying. That's the way I see it. It's
It's a loyal approach.
Yeah, because otherwise it's like a diet. A diet. All diets work, but you have to do them for the rest of your life, and I'm not willing to do that. And I know that, and I'm overweight, and it's because I am the one failing with the diet, and that's my fault. But with speaking like a native, I have committed myself to do it until the day I die.
We'll still be teaching. We'll be around.
Yes.
We'll just be like, come on, man, you can do it.
Right.
Encouraging you still.
Yes. Well, maybe at one point I'm going to start faking a bad accent so I can stay.
Oh, yeah, to show the improvement over time. We're like, wow, you're really regressing and then getting better over time.
If I ended up speaking like a native, you're going to kick me out of the class.
No. Well, we'll have you come join as a teacher. That's what we do. You graduate, we're like, we need you to instruct other people.
Right.
But it's true. It's like, there's something you mentioned before is like, eventually I'll get it in 10, 20 years. And I love that because it's actually probably going to get better over time with your abilities. Not for everybody's, but some people who are engaged and know about it. Like we talked about this a little bit earlier, but like there's this like theoretical side of what vowel or what sound am I supposed to be saying. And then there's this whole like practical que me sale, how do I produce it? And that's different. That process seems to be different. Right. So as long as anybody who's watching wants some tips as we throw them in the middle, if you want to be able to control it or feel like it's not like 10 or 20 years, but it's like, it's until I get this thing that I know about, this D thing that I'm working on, that I address, and I, like you said, need to put that in isolation. And once you do that, it's going to be very clear to you what that is and what that time frame will look like. And I want you to have that control.
Yeah, and the other thing is like, I mean, this may sound a little crazy today, but at the pace we are moving with technology, we might be able to download a language in the next 15 years, so, and then it's like, but until that happens, I am committed to. That may never happen. That's the thing. We don't know. But if that never happens, at least I know that I'm gonna keep trying. And if that happens, then will be fixed. Or you'll be able to fix it with the, with a neural link or whatever. Yeah.
It's kind of Broca's ship.
The evolution of being a cyber, right? Because I was listening to Elon Musk the other day. No, we are already cybers, because the dependency on our
Cyborgs?
phones, cybers, yeah.
When you say cyborgs, quickly, I was like between cyber and cyborg.
Cyborg,
Yes.
yes. No, we are cyborgs already because look what we do with our phones. And the phone is like,
An extension of our hand.
yeah. And so that's what a cyborg is, it's like technology basically on you all day. So this is the beginning of being a cyber. We are already
It's
cyber.
external, right? But it's like one day it'll be.
Exactly. So this is the Neanderthal years of being a cyber. But we are already a cyber. That was his point.
Scary,
And it's
but
interesting.
true.
It's
Yeah.
interesting. Because that
bet.
is going to evolve. Now we have the goggles, and then we're gonna have the Neuralink, and some people will die with the first versions of Neuralink.
Yeah.
But 20 years, and it's like an AI working in our favor. We hopefully gonna live longer.
Live longer too.
Yeah, so I mean, imagine if we can live until 300 years, so then I will eventually speak like a native.
That's the goal, folks. Live until you're 300.
Yeah, and speak
Hopefully
like
your
a native.
brain and your teeth and lips and jaw are still intact.
Yeah, it's gonna be all brand new.
That's true. What am I talking about?
Yeah,
You can get a new one of those.
look at Mick Jagger. He gets new blood like every year from 18-year-old healthy people. So
We
he
can
can
all,
do it.
we can all learn from these fine examples that you mentioned, Elon and Mick Jagger. I'm curious to know if you're ever working on another language.
No. The next language I would like to work on is actually Italian because I love Italian and because it's gonna be the next step for somebody who grew up in Argentina.
I like it.
And my mom's first language was Italian, so she learned Spanish in elementary school.
I like it.
So she still talks to me in Italian sometimes. She says a few things, and
What do you speak? What do you know?
piccolino. What's that?
What do you know in Italian? What words stand out to you?
Piccolino, obviously calcio, amici, il Corriere del Popolo.
Corriere del Popolo.
Il Corriere del
Bravo.
Popolo, and I don't know. I mean, it's just I have to kind of when my mom says the words, I have like oh yeah. I remember a lot more when she says the words because I don't know them. I know them more unconsciously, I guess, from memory, from
Sure. Yeah.
talking with my mom. Yeah, I would like to learn Italian, and I would like to Hebrew and Japanese are two languages that it's like I think that
Hebrew,
because they're
Japanese,
very different, so because if I learn Italian, another language that is similar to Italian will be Portuguese, but I'm not really interested in learning Portuguese. So it will be something, will have to be something different. And I think that I like the sound of Hebrew and the sound of Japanese more than Russian or Finnish, is it called Finnish? Or the Finnish language or... So, I don't know, I like the sound, And then there are other Asian languages that are, like, to me, like, super complicated. Like, we were talking about, Taiwanese or whatever.
Taiwanese or Thai would also be.
It was, like, so difficult. And I don't want to go. That will be too much for me, I think.
We draw the line at Thai.
A Thai, yes. But Hebrew, I think, is, like, I'm really interested on Hebrew.
You know any Hebrew right now or no?
No, not really. Other than like some last names.
Yes.
But I don't know.
Wait, like Jewish last names or Israeli?
Jewish.
last names?
Well, I don't know.
'Cause those
No,
might
I
not be
think.
Hebrew.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't.
You know L'chaim?
L'chaim.
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 Salut.
L'chaim.
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 Yeah, you were learning words.
L'chaim. So. Yeah, I went to high school with many Jewish friends, and I know a lot of Jewish last names. I don't know if they're Israeli
Oh
last
yeah,
names.
probably not.
Probably
from
not.
the
Okay.
United States.
Oh no, this were people in Argentina. They were like, Cos was one of my best friends.
Cos.
Lionel Cos.
This is Cos.
Cos.
Cos,
Is
yeah.
is it called Cos?
Cos is cup
cup. Oh,
or
okay.
glass.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So your friend.
So yeah, Cos with
Johnny
K-O and two S's.
Oh yeah, that could also be German. To be fair.
Oh, okay.
Kos, who knows?
Who knows?
Kopf, but
Cos
There's lots of
and
overlap.
Oversky. I remember Alfandari. Well, Alfandari, I don't know if it's, but she was
Yeah,
Jewish.
that
but
second one sounded like
Alfandari is
cool.
more like Italian, right? But she was, Jewish, and I don't know. Yeah. So.
What do you know about the difference between Jew and Israel?
Well, so Jewish is the religion.
Yeah.
And Israel is somebody who was born and raised in Israel.
Or just as a citizen of Israel?
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
You could be not born there.
Yeah. So I guess that.
Yeah, no, I was just making sure because it's kind of like it's sometimes hard. Not you, but like in general, it's like Jewish because when you're saying like Hebrew last names, I think like Jewish last names, or like
right.
Polish, Eastern European last names, which are like commonly ending with man, Goldman,
Right.
Silverman,
Right.
or like Berg,
Right.
Goldberg.
Goldberg.
So it's good to know. It's good for anyone who's watching to know.
No, it's great to know. I actually didn't know, but it's good to know. Yeah.
A lot of Hebrew is in pop culture, but not usually through like real modern Hebrew. It's usually through like Ashkenazi Jew Hebrew, which is like, have you heard of Yiddish?
Yiddish. I heard of the term Yiddish, and yeah. I know. I heard the word a million times, but I'm not sure really what it means.
Well, let's talk about it.
Okay.
This is about language. It's
Yeah,
relevant.
absolutely.
I'm happy to share. Do you want to know?
I love it. No, I absolutely love it.
Yiddish is a language that's usually of Jewish background. So people in Eastern Europe would speak Yiddish. It's a Germanic language, but it's written with Hebrew alphabet, like from the Torah.
Oh,
It's similar to a Hebrew alphabet. So you would look at the words and it would be not intelligible because it's a different alphabet, but the sounds are German. So you have words in English like schlepp, which is like to carry along heavy load, or schmutz, or spiel. A lot of the sputz and the schmick and the schmutz and the spiels that comes from a German background, but is very like Jewish in culture.
yeah.
And a lot of words have been borrowed into Hebrew, modern Hebrew from Yiddish. That is just like the evolution. It's like Jews never had a country until Israel. And so you have these like little pockets and populations that are speaking in a certain way because of their religion and their little group. It also happens with a language called Ladino.
Ladino.
You know Ladino? Ladino is the same thing, Jewish language, but it's basically Spanish.
Oh, okay.
And it's spoken in Israel, spoken in like parts of Spain and Italy and everything, but it's mostly
So what does Yiddish mame means?
Yiddish?
Yiddish mame or
Yiddish mame.
Yiddish mame or something? I don't know.
Oh.
Maybe I'm making this up, but
Sounds like a Yiddish mommy.
Yiddish mame, something along with mom.
Is that in Yiddish?
I don't know.
I don't speak Yiddish. I only know like words that I've acquired from
okay.
like Jewish Hebrew. But if you know what Yiddish mommy is,
Write it in the comments.
Let us know in the comments. We want to know.
Right. Yeah, interesting. No, I'm interested. Just speaking of learning a little bit, it's like where before Israel, how did the Jewish people begin? How was the beginnings of the Jewish people that ended up in Israel? How was the beginning, like to 3,000 years ago? I mean, how was
Until
the
now.
Yeah, so where do the were the Jewish people like in a certain specific place of earth, or were part of a different country and then they became how?
Well,
What's the
you know about like the Spanish Inquisition. A lot of Jews were in Spain.
Oh, okay.
and Morocco,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
in Europe in general. And then they got kicked out. This is like in 15th century, like 1490, whatever.
But were they originally at the beginning a religion? That's how they.
Yeah,
they
Judaism's a pretty established
yeah.
monotheistic religion. Probably around the same time as right before Christianity.
Yeah. It's like the before, right?
Right, yeah.
Before,
Because of the whole Jesus
was Jewish, and
thing.
yeah.
But around that time, you know.
Right.
And then there's like this thousands of years where Hebrew as a language wasn't spoken, and Jews would live wherever they wouldn't be killed.
But that was like some sort of a tribe, because let's say the Basque people were a tribe, you know, at the beginning. So were the Jewish people at the beginning a tribe?
It's like the Judah. I think there was like, you know, different tribes and lots of people that lived in that area for that time. And I think it like switched a lot. Who was in Israel and all that stuff is also another fun thing to talk about. But the tribe, the Jewish tribe that they kind of continued on. And first, there's lots of versions of Judaism, of course, but just to be general and standardizing these things, general Jews and general Hebrew and general Israel was like just nothing and unclear for like generations. And I think it was the Second World War, and there was a British mandate in what's now Israel. Before that was British, because it was a British colony. They had a British mandate where basically they were just kind of rebuilding the country. And after the Second World War, they signed I forget the agreement, but of course this is like an independence for Israel from England, and also this whole beginning of what's now this incredible Middle Eastern conflict. But it's all this Palestine in Israel. But the main thing that we're talking about, language and stuff, is like there were these like people in other parts of the world, whether it's the people who moved from Europe to the United States, South America, a lot of Jews in Buenos Aires, in Brazil, in Mexico, wherever he wouldn't get killed. And like my father started in Morocco in 1956. Morocco became independent. No more Jews. Get out. Go to Israel.
Okay.
So Israel was already a state, and you can kind of like be in a place. But before 1948, Israel wasn't a state. You could go to Israel, of course. You can go to that place, but it wasn't officially a state. The language wasn't so developed as it is today. It's only been 60 plus years. But like, it's just kind of cool how like this is one of the languages that's been revived. I actually read this book in Italian, relevant, called La lingua che è vissuta due volte. The language that lived twice.
Twice.
And so it's like really fascinating how like a couple dudes, if I could be so crude, like came together, like linguists and authors and poets that came together to say, we have a Torah, we have a Bible, you know, we can work from. A lot of the modern Hebrew is based on biblical Hebrew, but you know, there's like concepts and technology and things that you need to like incorporate to a 20th century language that a biblical language doesn't have. And so like it was a language that like within 100 years is now thriving in a way with millions of speakers. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. No, it's interesting how it's interesting to me because, you know, Israel has the second strongest army in the world. It's like, wow, that's remarkable.
Hebrew because of
No, but I mean that's remarkable. I mean, it's like think about that. How what a strong people.
Yeah.
You know, to build the second strongest after the United States, strongest army in the world, and it's like. And it's like, I think it's a remarkable culture that I'm interested on learning more about because I think you can learn so much about successful people and successful societies in history, and the Israelis and definitely a successful culture, and it's proven, you know, throughout history. And in such a small period of time. And I don't know. I think that's pretty fascinating.
It's really it's badass. It's cool to learn about. It's of course like it does make sense when you see the effort and time and the care that goes into decisions. And I'm talking generally about like worldwide things that you might hear about, like birthright. Have you heard of birthright?
Birthright, that where you are born, you have rights to be.
Yeah, but this is like an established organization. It's called Birthright in English, or Taglit in Hebrew. And it's an organization that will send Jewish young adults to Israel for free for a 9 or 10 day trip. In an efforts to connect them to the culture, or some people who haven't been to Israel. Sometimes it's religiously tied, sometimes it's just about outdoor adventuring and rappelling off of a waterfall. And thousands of young adults have gone on this trip and have started a connection with Israel. And you're like, you'd think it's silly, they're wasting money, they're just giving kids a free trip, but it's just like
no, I think I get it, because I believe in reincarnation, and one of the things I believe in is like we reincarnate within families of souls. And I think sometimes certain cultures, that could be something that is more like a biggest way of a biggest group of people that is continues to reincarnate in the same family of souls. So then when you go to Israel, for example, it could be other culture, other country, but you feel some sort of a calling or some sort of a connection that is at a soul level, and I think
it's spiritual. It's a spiritual place. Israel is pretty historical.
Right.
But it's everyone should go to Israel, like whatever religion or background. It's just a fun place, and it's got such a rich, deep history. But Hebrew language and Israeli people are just cool. There's a lot to offer there too.
I'm also interested on one of the things I'm interested in about Israel and the Israelis is like because they have the country not from too long. I'm curious about all the lessons they learn from other countries in history, and how are the laws today, in terms of like, just making this up, but let's say, and maybe in a certain country, it's okay to walk naked on the streets, but in other countries it's not. So I wonder if like, the Israelis being in a way a new nation, a new country, I guess, if they were able to take all those lessons from the world really and implement in a more effective way than many other countries, and that's what they push them to be such a power nation. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I wonder how the world history shaped them to say, oh, this doesn't work, but this worked. What the Finnish did in about voting rights works. What they did in in France about being naked in the street, that doesn't work. So you know what I mean? Because a lot of the decisions some countries make are based on hundreds of years of having a country and building a country.
Making mistakes and going back.
Right, so I wonder, that's something I would be interested in saying, how do the laws work? What happens if you commit this crime? Do they, do you go to jail? You know what I mean? So
sure.
It's always something.
I mean, it's such a unique situation in Israel because it's not the same. It's not the same type of country as most that we know.
Right.
It's based on a religion. It's a Jewish state, and a lot of the things that you see as conflict and the things that you might learn from other countries or other histories. I mean, most people who move to Israel, are from a country, and usually a failing one or something that's going through some kind of like persecution of Jews. So they're moving there for opportunity. But then there's like a ton of problems in Israel, ironically too. But they're, as expected, like enemies around them.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I bet like in any other culture or country, a lot of what we see on TV is not necessarily what's going on the country, So I think that the news, they focus so much on the conflicts but they don't focus about how does the society work in terms of like what are the positives of this society. You know what I mean? It's like a lot of what we get. Like we were talking earlier today about movies, movies shows you, like, for example, talking about UFOs, that's one question I wanted to ask you.
Yes.
It's like the movies most movies show you that extraterrestrials are bad people, they're coming to kill us.
They're enemies, yeah.
And maybe that's not you know what I mean? Maybe that's not the case, because if extraterrestrials actually existed and that was the case, we will be dead by now.
Yeah.
We've been dead for hundreds of years, and if they don't kill us, even though they have the technology to kill us anytime, then maybe they're not bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not bad people. So that's what I'm saying. I'm curious of all the things we don't see that much in the news about Israel, and say, in Israel they're very successful about healthcare. I don't know.
That is true.
Okay.
For example,
I
think that comes from like a lot of countries that are better. I'm also comparing that to the United States, which is awful. But it's the case where a lot of things that you'll see are influenced by like European and American culture. It's very cosmopolitan. It's very hard to tell, where you're at, in some places, of course, everything's Hebrew and hummus, falafel, everything. But it's very developed, and I think that a big value of Israelis is education, intelligence,
right.
For not only for safety, for military stuff, but for enriching the people and all that stuff. And there's incredible universities, technical engineering universities, Technion. It's just kind of like breeding and inviting from all over the world different intellectuals, and it just continuing to thrive. It's not really, I don't think, a political thing or a country only, or modeling off of other countries, but there's just a lot of success and a lot of support, and funds go towards investing in their people. Mm-hmm. Which is, a lot of countries are doing that too now, and like Saudi Arabia, where they think, there's countries that you have that know that if you give education to your young people and you let them make their own decisions and have that free will, that they're gonna like come back, or they're gonna like appreciate that opportunity. And some people are evil, but most of the time you're gonna find that they're gonna do good because they're coming from a place of good too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's a cool place.
No, absolutely.
We should go. We should.
Yeah, absolutely.
The next episode in Israel.
We'll
bring your equipment.
Broadcasting equipment. I would love to go to Israel, and I would like to go to Israel with somebody who knows the country, like you, or somebody who can actually show me, because I wouldn't know where to go other than the muro. What is it called? The muro.
Yeah.
Other than that, I
Wailing
wouldn't. Yeah, but I would like somebody to say, let's go here, or, and show me things about, maybe not all health insurance, but, but something cool like that, look how this is working better than in the U.S., this is working better than anywhere in the world. Because, there's a lot to learn from successful people and cultures, that you can implement in your own life at the different levels, with your relationships and even with your own family, just by looking at what other countries doing well. Yeah. In a certain area,
Well, last thing I'll say about this is like crime is not that big of an issue. I mean, so there's the whole like terrorism and like crime and murders and stuff like that. But like generally speaking, as far as like when we talk about Argentinian, like like getting mugged or robbed and type of thing, it doesn't seem to happen as much. Well, like everyone's in the army or has military training. Half the 18 to 20-year-olds are carrying AK. They're like this armed. Right. Not that they're gonna use it, but like it just feels like there's not much gonna happen. And everyone's trained just in case.
And that's the thing. It's like that contrast. I think is good to learn about from, because, for example, in Singapore, nobody steals in Singapore. You know why? Because somebody, they kill you right there. They just execute you for stealing a candy. If they see you stealing the candy,
For chewing
there's a
gum.
police right there. They execute. So there is no crime. But
That seems...
that's too extreme. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
Israel is probably a good example because, like you were saying, the crime is low because everyone's in the military, and so.
Yeah, there's some kind of like same level of expectation. Men and women are in the military. They're all different races and backgrounds. There's not just, there's also different types of Israelis. There's black, gay Jews, and all those people different that are serving in the military, and no one's really having any problem with like you might have here. So it's just
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's many countries that are doing a lot of positive things.
Sure,
Those two that is like
Absolutely.
and no different, but it is fun.
UFOs.
UFOs.
I have a question about UFOs. So, I want to see what do you think about this.
Okay.
So here's my question. So that I like to ask for future episodes of any podcast. I do that's a question I like to ask people to see not only what people think but what people how people react.
Okay.
So here's a question. This is it's called a dichotomy. Am I saying that right?
That's a word, yeah.
Which is
Dichotomy.
something contrasted with each other, right?
Totally, like a split two things. This comparison of two different things.
Yeah. So what I don't, I heard some people who believe in God that they say no, it's the UFOs, the extraterrestrials. No, they don't exist, right? And because a lot of people say, look, I never seen an alien, like a real alien, shake hands with me, take a picture with that being, and therefore they don't exist, but some religious people, the question is like, what's your take on some religious people who believe in God? They have never seen God or shook hands with God or have a selfie with God. So in a sense, they're both arguments are in contrast with each other. You see what I'm saying? It's like, oh, I never seen an alien, but I don't believe in an alien. But I never seen God, but I believe in God. So to me, that it really makes no sense. So I'm not saying that I'm in favor or not in favor of any side. It's just my question to you is like, how do you see that contrast, and does that make sense to you or not? And if it does, why does that make sense to you? And if it doesn't, why?
Yeah. Let's talk about that.
Complicated question.
Well, I suppose that anyone who says they don't believe in aliens for religious reasons has more to it than just that. I think that there's not proof aside from what you might expect. Like, they haven't shaken the hand of an alien species, extraterrestrial. Whereas people may have seen signs from God.
Right.
They may have met God or heard God. And that's... And some people do that often, or talk to God and feel like that's a thing in their life. What if people just worshipped UFOs and aliens, and then they were just talking to them and saying, "Dear aliens, where are you? Show yourselves." It would be different, but we haven't built a society around that for the last hundreds of years. But I think that the idea of if you can't see it and it's not there is not the best way to live your life.
Sure.
But because of the fact that it leaves your mind closed.
Right.
To the fact that there aren't other things. And then, though I think some people like to have that, if you don't know about it, then it won't hurt you.
Right.
But yeah, ignorance is bliss. But I think that it's fascinating to learn that next step deeper, so that you can reset any other beliefs, not just the God and the alien belief, but that you can see kind of underlying things about some other things about yourself in your mind. So I'm going to tie this back to languages for a moment to see if it's
please,
do you know how many languages there are in the world?
137.
That was a very good guess and very quick answer. That was
Can't bullshit a bullshit.
Can't bullshit a bullshit. What if that was right? That would have been ridiculous.
I'm pretty sure I'm right.
I also remember we're talking about like languages that you want to learn, and I was like, what languages are on the docket? And you're like, Italian, Hebrew, Japanese. Like, I don't want to learn Russian or Finnish. Like, those were the options. You know, like Italian, Japanese, Hebrew, Russian, and Finnish. Like, I don't want to learn Russian and Finnish, so I guess it leaves the other three.
Well, I know, I forgot to tell you that I know how to speak Jeringoso. I don't know if you know Jeringoso.
Jeringoso. Oh, is that fluent?
Kind of fluently,
Okay.
yes.
And
Yeah.
what do you know in Jeringoso?
Jeringoso. You know what Jeringoso
I don't
is?
think
No?
so.
Oh, okay. So Jeringoso is an invented language, an Argentine invented language.
Okay.
I must say that typically a lot of parents used to use in front of kids, so the kids wouldn't understand what they're saying. So, for example, if I need to switch to Spanish for a second. But if I'm gonna say, voy a tomar este vaso de vino, you will say, Bopoi, apa, topo mapar, epe, stepe, bapa sopo, opo, bipinopo. So you after every consonant and vowel, after each vowel, you add a p and you repeat the vowel.
Okay.
That's the one rule. That's the only rule.
So bipinopo is vino.
Bipinopo is vino.
Bipinopo.
Right. So that's that. Now you know how to speak Jeringoso.
Wow.
Short clip for YouTube. So, but that's what it is. It's like, so parents will speak Jeringoso in front of the kids if you say, if you.
What is Jeringoso? Does that mean something? Is that like
Jeringoso? I really have no idea what it means, but I don't know where it came from. The etymology of the word.
Etymology. Yeah.
I don't know, but
No worries.
now you know how to speak Jeringoso.
Yeah.
See, I taught you an entire language.
You told me so many things today. I've been a
30
student.
seconds left.
Do you want to know how many languages there are in the world?
162.
Do you want to...
No. Just tell me.
There's a couple more. There are 7,000.
7,000.
Más o menos. 7,000.
But do we count Jeringoso on that count, or?
Bueno. Do we count Finnish and Russian? That's the most important. There are like 600 languages spoken on like Papua New Guinea, apparently.
Oh.
It's kind of fun how many languages we don't know about. This is why I was thinking about it, because of the whole extraterrestrial conversation.
Right.
God.
Imagine only in planet Earth. Only in one planet.
I mean, imagine trying to just name all the languages you can name, even if you're a linguist. Even if I'm naming every language I've ever heard of or thought of,
right,
or studied, it would be like dozens. And there's 7,000 languages.
7,000 languages. Oh my goodness.
Crazy, man.
It is.
So just making sure that everyone knows the fun facts about.
No, it's absolutely great. I didn't know 7,000. And I wonder if that includes the language in the Star Wars word,
like con language
universe. Yeah, what are they called? Like the fictional languages in the
We call them con languages. Constructed languages. Con.
Okay.
It's different than Esperanto or languages that are made up for the purpose of being learned, but Klingon and Navi and all that type of thing.
Mm-hmm. What's your take and why Esperanto failed as the universal language?
Burn!
The question to a linguist. So.
Burn on Esperanto, right? I know a lot of Esperanto speakers. And because I participate in the Polyglot gathering every year, it's also sponsored and held by Esperanto organizations. Why do I think it's failed? I don't think people are into non-natural languages. I think people like the idea of it being, tied to a people and having an accent. So Esperanto is a language that's made for ease of learning. It's kind of Latin based. You can see a lot of kind of Spanish things, but there's no gender. There's one verb. It's like one verb form. There's no conjugation. So the idea is that it would be easy to learn, and so that it would become a kind of lingua franca of the world. But it's like a combination of the product itself, the process, the marketing of this language, which is all often done by kind of nerdy, erudite people that feel like they just want to learn language and they want to make it easy, and maybe people as well, just to say like, okay, this is not as exciting as a language. You don't have as much content, but honestly, I can't say that now because I just found out from this trip to Poland, there's a radio, there's like Esperanto. There is a ton of Esperanto content. There's a radio station that plays Esperanto 24 hours a day. You can listen to music and probably movies and shows. So it's not bad anymore.
Are those like translations to popular music in movies, or they're like
original Esperanto music? Yeah, you can find Esperanto radio stations that are just playing original music, which this is kind of fun. If you're a musician and you just happen to speak some really low like probability level language, or like you could become a hot shot star in the music scene by creating Esperanto content.
Yeah,
because people are needing that.
Some people are into that. Yeah,
solid stream.
So without you asking me, I'm gonna give you my take on why I feel. No. But no, because I have an opinion, and I was wondering, you're a qualified voice in terms of like, a linguist. I'm not, but to me, at least, the reason why it failed is because they try to imply a norm in society that society didn't pick, even though it was a better language than many other languages because it was made to become a universal language. A society, I think, ends up rejecting, not based on what's best for society, but what society likes.
Yeah.
So I think that the universal language was already and still is English.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why society said, oh, sure, Esperanto is better, more people understand it, but we don't want it because we have English. And that's why that's why it failed.
Yeah.
Even though it was a better idea, like the QWERTY keyboard,
yeah.
Right? It's all effed up.
Yeah.
But that's what
we got.
Yeah. But it doesn't say A, B, C, D, because there is a keyboard layout that has the A, B, C, D, but the QWERTY keyboard is like all mixed up,
Sure.
And that's why, even though they created the keyboard that has the A, the B, and the C, and the next to each other, that keyboard failed because society already picked,
Yeah, so it's like, you're saying kind of like a question of timing.
Absolutely right.
Once English is already kind of up and running, and someone's like Esperanto, and you're like, we got English going on. Like, chill with your.
Right.
I also think it's kind of a bad name for a language.
Esperanto, yeah.
It sounds indigenous, which is kind of good.
Right.
But then you're like, oh, are we learning an indigenous language?
Right.
Like it sounds like Navajo, Esperanto. It sounds like something that already did exist.
Right. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I like that. I like your comments though. That was really wise.
I don't know, but I don't know. Who knows?
It is kind of an irony too when you start to see something that's good for humanity, because we do this a lot in the world, right? Like, hey, we have a solution for this, and we're all like, no thanks.
No thanks.
Yeah. We're like, but it's gonna solve climate change, and we're like, nah, I'm watching videos.
Yeah, and sometimes the opposite happens, because something that recently happens that we already had something that it was working fine, but then for I don't know for what are the reasons why the planets align at the right time, or maybe the COVID times, but all of a sudden the entire world switched to Zoom.
Yeah.
Before that we have Skype, we had Microsoft Teams, whatever. But I don't know why. Just like that, society switches to Zoom, and it's like, but it happened, And so I don't really. I don't have an explanation. I mean, I don't even have a guess why that happened. But
yeah, can you guess why anything becomes popular? It's like people like what people like. People like what other people like, and then people like what they like, and it's just a wave. It's like it's the crazy stuff where people are like.
Like NFTs.
Like NFTs, yeah. That's something. Did you ever invest in crypto?
I did, and I lost money. I lost 60% of the money I invested.
Okay.
And now I'm trying to see if I can recoup a little. I didn't invest too much money, but I invested a little.
Just back up. The market's back up.
Yeah, it's back up
As
to
of
30,000.
30 July
Almost
2023. Yeah, we're
Yeah, Ether. I have Ether in Bitcoin. So
Yes.
but ETH. So I'm waiting for them to go up a little bit, and then I'm probably gonna sell it because I predict that all the current cryptocurrencies, namely the most popular like Bitcoin and Ether, will fail because with a fiat currency like the US dollar, what's the backup of that currency? The US Army. At the core, the end. So what's backing up Bitcoin? Nothing. So what's going to happen, and this is my prediction, the US and all the power nations will come up with their own cryptocurrencies. And they're going to back it up with their own armies. And they won't, Bitcoin and Ether and none of the other cryptocurrencies will be able to compete.
But there is a USD crypto. I mean, you can buy coin.
Yeah, but
USD.
I mean, they are not popularized. I guess that they're not official currency exchange currency in the United States. Once the U.S. and the power nations make that call, okay, this is the U.S. official cryptocurrency. It's official. Now you can go to McDonald's and pay with this now.
Like Nicaragua, or what country was it that did the
Did that?
Nicaragua or something like that? One of the countries that was like, we're going to do El Salvador, maybe?
It could be, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. But I don't know what happened. It was either Nicaragua or El Salvador. You're right. But until that when that happens, I think the Bitcoin and Ether, they're all going to crash and disappear. I mean, it's my prediction.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, I'm probably wrong, but I think that, again, there is no cryptocurrency currently that can compete with the U.S. Army, with the French Army, with the British Army, with the Israeli Army. And when that happens, it's going to be game over, in my opinion. But
All right.
it may take another 15 years or 20 years, but I think that's what's going to happen.
It'd be interesting if crypto is still around in 10, 15 years, where everyone's kind of feeling like it's kind of just going away because it's not popular,
Right.
but it's still around.
Yeah. And the NFTs it's crazy. I don't know how the current state of NFTs, but
Yeah, it seems to have like dipped quite a bit, but
the
like
amount of money people pay for pixels is like, I don't know, to me, irrational.
yeah.
Irrational. Simply irrational.
But yeah, it's just all going back to like, why are we choosing anything? Why is
Exactly.
what's her name? Rachel, Miss Rachel? Why is she the most famous person? It's like a kind of combination of things, right? And
Right.
you kind of do it's maybe also like prolific or prevalence in your life, right? It's like why a language might become more prevalent because you're using it. If it's not in your face and in your life, it's just not out of sight, out of mind.
Right.
But we love to speculate here.
Yeah, and when we interact with extraterrestrials, what language are we gonna use? And if it's like telepathic language, then languages won't matter anymore because telepathic language is there's no language in it.
Then I'll be out of a job. Thanks a lot, Ben, for ruining my future.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's gonna happen. It's inevitable.
No.
I guess I have to study more languages now. Maybe Esperanto. Be an
Sure.
accent coach for Esperanto.
Yeah, no.
Should I
I
put my
think
eggs into that basket? No.
go for it.
That's a no.
You can be the most successful Esperanto singer in the world.
Oh, I should take my own advice and create more content on the radio station.
No, the other thing I wanted to say is like, I think AI will make things too perfect that people will quickly get bored of AI. People will need human teachers. Will need the humanity in AI.
They'll crave like some human mistake.
I mean, think about that. If you can get all the knowledge you want on any language you want from an AI, wouldn't you at one point crave the human interaction with the teacher who can actually, give you something? You see what I'm saying? I don't think AI is gonna. I think AI is going to bore people. It's going to everything will be perfect, but then people are saying, Oh boy,
It misses the touch.
I miss the teacher. You know, I miss the chat with the teacher.
Mm.
You know, and I don't, and that's why I think that your jobs like yours that is pretty human based
Yeah.
are not gonna go away.
Not during our lifetime.
No, I
Well,
don't think so.
that's why I'm trying to accumulate all the languages. So there's just in case English is not the lingua franca, I can do Portuguese and Italian and Spanish.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if we are able to actually download the language in our brains, and if you're up to you as a teacher or as a linguist, you may download all the languages.
Right, yeah. I can just like help to make the software.
Sure, exactly. Yeah. So.
But yeah, that seems so far-fetched. Like download the language to your brain,
Download the.
right?
Yeah.
I know I'm skeptical.
No.
I'm skeptical, but like give it 5 years. We'll see.
We'll see what happens. Well, my friend, I think that this is probably a good time to wrap things up. And
This was fun.
yes, I mean, I know we can talk for probably another 3 hours straight. But I know you're tired. I'm tired too, and I think this is a good time. And I hope we can make another interview in the future, either in Colo Tolo or in Templar Truths, or in any way, shape, or form we can do a podcast, because I'm very grateful of being your friend, and I'm very grateful you came over, and thank you. I have nothing else to say than to thank you for all you gave me as a teacher, as a friend, Will, and thank you for being here in this channel and this interview, and God bless you, my friend, and your family, and thank you. Cheers to your success,
Thank you.
and till the next time.
I love it. Well, I'll say my thank yous too.
Okay.
It's been a pleasure here to be here with you, and in spirit, Will, in a sense. We feel you here.
Colo, here's the Colo, Colorado.
The Colo
Colorado is right
is
here.
with us siempre. And it's a pleasure to see people like yourself who are just in it, and like you want it, and it's inspiring to see. It's kind of addictive to watch, and it's kind of why I do what I do, because I get to connect with people just like you're talking about. Like if I did this with AI and I'm just talking to a wall, I don't have the connection, I don't have the feedback, and people like yourself who are just like making moves and pushing forward and wanting to meet and wanting to get better it's like makes me feel all warm inside. And so I appreciate your hospitality and just everything about you, and I thank you, my friend.
You're very welcome. My home is your home anytime.
L'chaim.
And thank you for your words. I'm gonna cry.
Well, we'll do it behind the camera.
Behind the scenes. Let's go cry together.
Love you, man.
All right, love you too.
Cheers.
Cheers.